Jens.
Good morning.
Morning!
We have a special guest.
Waffle time, waffle time with Danish people. Did you bring me bacon?
No, but I can make some.
Oh, God, here we go.
This is Jens. I'm Mitto. He's James. If nobody's been here before.
Yeah.
And we waffle about RC cars and drifting and stuff.
And other stuff.
And other stuff.
Yeah.
Generally.
It's a bit of a different week this week. First special guest.
I know, it's a bit weird. I feel like it's creeped me out a little bit because he's there.
I know. It's like there's somebody behind me.
I'm glad there's a screen so I can see what you're up to.
It would have been really nice if you'd actually told me that I would be on this thing.
You mean that's not why you're here? I thought that was why you came here. It's just to be honest on a Friday. I thought that's why you chose Friday.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Jens is actually our biggest fan to the point of stalkerism.
He followed us to Japan.
We found him outside this morning. He only had his socks on, but we found him some clothes.
He just follows the snow. Wherever the snow goes is where Jens goes.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
So,
Anywho, it was us three that went to Japan.
It was indeed.
So it's a bit of a reunion about a month later.
Hi, buddy. All right.
Hi.
Hi. So yeah, Jens came over to Japan with us, did the whole Tetsujin tour, been to Yatabe and then the Yokomo thing.
You've been twice
now, yeah.
Yes.
How was that?
Yatabe?
Everything. Japan.
Special? Awesome?
I mean,
tiring?
One thing we talked about was when we came back after this one, obviously like me and you been the year before, and we were talking about like the skill level, seeing someone like Baba drive compared with like a lot of the other drivers European people might have seen, like Gachapin and Takahiro, like obviously very good. But like how was your impression of Baba after seeing all that as well?
Well, it's kind of difficult to define the skill level of Baba. It's just the general skill level of everyone is really high.
Yeah.
And it's kind of eerie because you get the sense that everyone goes from 0 to awesome in no time at all, because you generally don't see beginners, at least not where we went.
I was thinking the only place I saw a beginner, and I don't think he was a beginner, but I think he was a beginner to rear-wheel drive, was at Hatano. The small little figure of 8 space. Yeah. There was a guy who was either struggling with some setup thing or was new.
Yeah.
That's the only person I saw who didn't look in any way accomplished.
But equally, there was
there was 3 guys.
RC926 full on, pro driver.
Owner.
Owner of 6, and just normal dudes, and everyone's kind of belled in together, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely.
For me, Baba was next level.
Well, we've talked about that before, but
I just wanted to see what he'd say.
I can't really remember you at Shift because I don't think we drove together at all.
No.
I think when
your driving was very unmemorable.
The problem
is your whole presence.
I was struggling so bad with my setup that I think most of the time I wasn't on track, and when I was when you were coming off track.
Did you zone out basically? Is that what happened?
All I remember of Shift is Baba and the weird goldfish with a brain on its head.
Yeah, but you that was weird. Setup a lot.
Shift.
It's like it was a goldfish, but it had like
basically
it looked
like
it had orange jelly, didn't it?
It looked like it had segments of like an orange on its head, but it was kind of like
a Satsuma without the white bits.
Yeah, it was weird. I tried to get a photo of it, but it was moving around too much.
Is that like a normal goldfish thing, or is that just?
I've never seen it, but I'm not a goldfish guy, so the only goldfish I've ever had one in a fair. So, yeah.
I can't even remember if I had a goldfish.
Yeah, we had some.
I don't think it was allowed.
With Shift in particular, Baba was the one that stood out for me. But then with every track, there was at least one person there who you could tell was a bit special and was clearly like the expert at that track.
Yeah.
Like at Tailside, the guy that helped you out with your chassis.
Yeah.
When we first got there, I was watching him through the day, and he didn't seem that good. And then I realised by the end of the day, actually, he was backing off to make it easier for everyone else to drive with him. And he had a level, because when he drove with Mizunaga, he suddenly went whoosh. Yeah. How amazing. And
like Soba, is it?
Yeah.
G worker as well. Like he was just sort of cruising around, and then every so often, like, oh, okay. It's like a trick because it makes you feel like
I'm going to pretend that's what I do here. I'm just out of practice.
Yeah.
I'm just backing down a bit. It's fine.
Anyway, we should move on because we waffle about Japan a lot, but it is very waffleable, and this is waffle time.
And it's very rarely that we get somebody else that's been to Japan with us.
You know, people are waffling about waffle time now. Like that's a common thing. It's waffle time. You hate that, don't you? You didn't want it to be waffle time.
I knew it was going to be.
We need waffles.
It needed a name that wasn't Q&A session.
We need waffle time.
But I prefer pancakes.
Pancake time. We can do that.
I'm pretty sure.
If you bring the machine, we'll make it happen. So anyway, new stuff.
We have lots of new stuff.
We have lots
for
of
those
new
that don't know, we had a big MST order land on Monday. I believe it's our biggest ever, if I remember right.
It was pretty massive.
We had billions of new chassis arrive, and every single item was restocked that was out of stock.
Hence, the shelves are looking pretty solid.
And the big stack of
chassis
that are down there that we've kind of run out of space for, so just have to be dumped on the floor.
There's more up there on shelves.
They're actually in the way in the office now, whereas normally we have neat space for them, whereas they're currently taking up half the floor.
Yeah. So,
but
good job.
It's good, but with big order means new stuff. So we have lots of cool stuff. Well, we have lots of new RMX stuff in particular. Some of this stuff has been out a little while, but because we're in Japan and because of Christmas and New Year, it hasn't been with us.
This is 2-in-1, really, isn't it?
Well, that's actually kind of, for those that don't know, that is the silver RMX. That's the 4-wheel drive version of the chassis, but I'm converting that to be 2-wheel drive because I want a rear-wheel drive version. So I have my purple one, which is my 4-wheel drive chassis, and I have my silver one, which is going to be my rear-wheel drive, but I haven't finished building that yet because I only started on Monday.
What's with this purple bit? What's that all about?
Is the cool bit. It's the shaft drive conversion. There's two different versions of that. There's the
super difficult to see.
Let's tilt it back a little bit. There you go. There's the rear-wheel drive version of that, and there's the 4-wheel drive version. Obviously, they come with different components and stuff, but essentially it converts the rear of the chassis to be shaft drive using the bevel gears from an FXX and a XXX. The 2-wheel drive version of the kit comes with a ball diff, and it's a different ball diff to the FXX, which I believe will be down to bearing spacing and things like that. But it actually feels like a very good quality ball diff. I put it in on Wednesday evening and had the ball diff master Tunksy tweak it a little bit for me.
Play with your balls.
Yeah, he adjusted my balls. And it's very cool. I have the 4-wheel drive version of the kit, which I haven't opened yet because that's going to go in the 4-wheel drive chassis when I get a chance.
I mean, for me, I'm using the Devel at the moment. It's very similar with the Planet gears. That's in terms of operation, that's super smooth, and that's on par. Like certainly it's got that kind of brand new, needs to be worn in feel. But
there's a couple of
I think that's more from the plastic.
Gears,
than the metal. The metal, the actual operation.
To be honest, before I put the diff in the back, it was even smoother. So I think you're right. I think it is down to the plastic gears. It's effectively a quick release arbor on the shaft that goes between the planet gears and the rear gears. So I think maybe I haven't pushed it on all the way or something like that. But it's smooth enough.
And that's super. It's super smooth. Like that's.
What do you think? Do you think that's cool?
That's smoother from the starting point that the Devel was at, to be fair. But
yeah, I wanted from my XXX. Oh, wait. Yeah.
You know what happens now, don't you? We've got them in stock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have loads. You can't see them on camera. We have
I'll have 5. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. No problem.
I need to finish building this thing up, and I need to kind of have a good look.
So your plan for this is rear-wheel drive?
That's my rear-wheel drive chassis.
And what else do you have to aid you in your quest for rear-wheel drive?
Before we get to that, I will say the settings that come standard for the 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive RMX, aside from obviously being different drivetrain, the actual settings on the chassis appear to be quite different out of the box, which is good. So I've had a good look at a 2-wheel drive. I have the setup sheets and things like that, so I'll be putting the setup on that, essentially making it a rear-wheel drive out of the box. Things like this front chassis brace on the front, put it side by side. You probably can't see, but the 4-wheel drive, it's slid all the way back. The rear-wheel drive, it's slid all the way forward. It's changed the chassis flex.
And for the sake of clarification, you can still run the 4-wheel drive system from this.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing.
So you can have shaft drive rear and belt drive front.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you can run. Well, if you put it
I
this
know
way,
that. It's just
it's the most versatile chassis that there is. There's you can have it belt drive, you can have it belt and shaft hybrid drive, you can have it forward drive, you can have it rear wheel drive. I'm pretty sure if you really wanted to mess around, you could change even more. But out of the box,
you could take a drive shaft out and a one-wheel drive. It will literally do everything.
You can have front-wheel drive.
Well, you can
run. Yeah, you could.
It's got shorty mounts available.
Taj loves his front-wheel drive, isn't it?
Hey Taj. So yeah, we have the as I say, you can run shorties, and it's the only. Well, it's not the other MST chassis allow you to run shorty out of the box, but it's the one that seems to work very well.
Yeah.
Very easily. But anyway, yeah, as you were sort of trying to move on, the other thing we have that's new is the new type gyro.
The new type gyro,
which is the new LSD 2.0 even.
S?
And this is the RS version. There's the S version and the RS version. The S version is essentially a newer, more reliable, more reliable and updated.
That's all they got.
Updated hardware. It makes it more reliable. It's more compatible with other servos. I believe it should be less of a problem running Salvox on it, although I need to double check and test that for myself. The RS version, which is that one, is remotely adjustable using the 3rd or 4th channel on your transmitter receiver. So you can tweak the gain. It also has auto, neutral, and things like that on there. So it takes a few seconds to start up when you turn the chassis on, but it runs smoother, it runs more reliable. It's got better components in effectively. I forget the name of the manufacturer, but it's got some very posh components in, and it also comes with a better case, which you haven't.
I was just trying to.
It comes with a much sturdier case.
It made that look a lot easier than I did, didn't it?
Yes. So yeah, it clips into place, and essentially anyone who's tried to fit a standard gyro and hasn't mounted it particularly well will know that if it wobbles, your steering glitches and twitches.
Yeah,
everywhere.
exactly.
So that mount is very good alone before you even get to the updated hardware.
And I believe one of those is going to be in testing today.
Hopefully today. Shouldn't be a problem. The other cool thing with this, I believe you can actually run this in different orientations as well without any problem because it has the auto neutral.
So it sets itself and
yeah. So I believe you can place it in lots of different places on the chassis and it'll still work fine. But again, I've got to test.
Yeah, and there's I know Mark, who's just got one, has placed it here alongside the motor. So that will be interesting to see.
I'm going to go initially for the same position that gyro mount is on the top,
I'm a
top deck
believer
because
that
it gets it out of the way.
Well, also it's
means
in the center.
Yeah.
For me, it's a center thing where, I mean, you could even have it under the deck here,
Isn't it?
in front of the battery.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm a believer in having it centrally mounted.
I wouldn't want it too far forward.
You can't do it either.
You have to get your thumb down the back. Other side. There's a latch on the back. There you go.
See, it's easy when you know.
Yeah, so easy, but you have to cut it in half.
No, it fits in with that.
Oh, okay.
That fits. I did a little. It's a bit awkward because I've got my belts on here, but it does fit if you work it in.
Excellent.
So yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to trying that.
So
I'm looking forward to having a rear-wheel drive chassis again. It's been a while since I've had a dedicated chassis.
Random one we got in, because literally we generally order everything.
Anything new that comes in, we're
not quite sure what these are for. I can't really see them. They're basically double cardan joint shafts, drive shafts.
Yeah.
40 mil. Not quite sure on the fitment for those yet.
They don't. Yeah, they won't fit a standard knuckle without tweaking the bearings and stuff. So we've got to test.
So yeah,
it's pretty interesting they've done that.
Maybe XXX-R.
No, I'm not sure what they'll be for. They could be XXX-R, but
XXX-R was XXX-R with a C hub.
Possibly. I'll be surprised if it is, but possibly. The C hub uses the same bearings as the standard.
Oh, okay.
So to be perfectly honest, we've got to test it and find out. It may be that they can fit with a different bearing. Maybe you can just run a.
I mean, they look lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you like looking at drive shafts, you could buy them. And,
yeah. So we'll hopefully have an update next week if we can work out what they're for. Or if MSD can let us know. They're big.
So yeah, that's basically what happens when you order
different.
everything. Yeah. So when new parts come, we just order them and literally to find out what they are. So if anyone needs any double cardan shafts, we have Multiples of
I remember
those available.
we had a discussion maybe 18 months ago on one of our forums about our drive shafts not being double cardan shafts, and that was a complaint because they weren't double cardan shafts.
Yeah.
Now they are.
Even
now
though
we
they're
have them.
drifting,
There's only one person who ever wanted them, but yeah.
And they won't fit.
Yeah, and they won't fit.
So yeah, whatever that was.
To be fair, they might.
What was that? I can't even remember. And if you, yeah, I remember that argument.
They might fit something else. Might have
oh, you need double cardans, righty round. It's like, yeah, you need to read more. What else do we have? We've
really forgot the big bit.
An entire new chassis. So we've got a XXX-S,
which is
it looks the bomb. I think I'm going to get one.
I'm pretty interested, to be perfectly honest. It's part of it because I knew I was going to get myself a second chassis to go with the.
Hang on. Second,
yeah. Let's just call it a second. Let's forget the rest. So yeah,
4-wheel drive.
Yeah. We'll say second 4-wheel drive.
That's not true either.
Anyway, yeah. So I was debating another XXX because I kind of liked mine quite a lot and miss it, but then I thought I'd go for the RMX because we're still learning them. It's good to have them here, and they're posh and shiny, and I like them.
Exactly. I was going to use that word. I was going to say it's because it's shiny.
But I think I might end up with one of these for fun because actually
I think I'm going to have one of those.
I've had a good look through the build manual
because I believe it's going to be awesome. And I miss my XXX.
Yeah, I think they're going to be very good.
That sounded emotional. It was meant to. It was from the heart. I miss my XXX.
Essentially, these come 1.3 CS. They come already with a 48 pitch spare on, which is something most people would change to.
We did that as a general conversion.
It's got up to 16 degrees of caster, up to 12 degrees KPI available out the box, I believe. Runs a front ball diff, runs a rear spool, but the rear spool is quite clever and I believe can very easily be converted into a ball diff. Just using different plates. What else is interesting about it? It's got a tub chassis, which is the first MST to have a tub chassis.
Yeah. Also, effectively, it is a HT system, isn't it?
It is HT.
So rather than the old pillow balls, it is HT.
Yeah.
So
it runs the same
HT
system as everything else.
Yeah.
So it's very clever. Basically, it looks like a really good bit of kit. They're only 150 quid, which is pretty ridiculous, to be perfectly honest.
For that money, like.
I think all I'd do if I was buying one of these, deadly serious, I'd buy the chassis, I'd buy an aluminium damper set, I'd buy 60-degree drive shafts.
Maybe turbo.
All they have to remember it's the 44-degree shafts in that because it's HT, so not the standard 42mm shafts conversion kit that you can get for the MS. Turnbuckle set, and I think that's probably all I'd bother with for now. Maybe a couple of CS options. But I'm dead impressed with it. I've been looking through the manual today, and they've thought of lots of clever little things. So
yeah,
we'll get one built. I mean,
we were looking. It's got all the gear charts and everything in the back.
Yeah,
which is super handy because most of us guys here, like Joe said, we converted from 64 to 48, which means that the gearing is to pop basically. But now it means that the gear charts are all bang on. I mean, I was running. Well, in fact, we were all running 74 for a while, weren't we?
No, I was running 75 in mine.
I was running 70. I think the lowest I went was 72, and the highest I went was 76 on the VIP. So it's a little bit different.
The manual for that looks amazing. That looks like their best yet. Very clear. Lots of little tips and pointers through it.
Yeah.
Comes with black grease. Comes with.
And also a notation about tyres as well.
Yeah, and a little mention at the back that you need to choose your tyres carefully, depending on where you're driving and how much power you're running.
On your circuit.
Which is quite an interesting thing because that's something we've said for a while. But yeah, I'm dead impressed with them. I'm probably going to end up with one once I've sorted this RMX out and I've got time to have another chassis tomorrow.
It looks like things like the slide rack will bolt straight on as well. And
I think there's going to be a few things that won't go straight on without certain upgrades, but I could be wrong, so I don't really want to mention anything. But I think some of the more VIP options in terms of bulkheads and weight amounts and stuff might not go straight on. But to be perfectly honest, I might be wrong because I've not built one yet. We haven't seen one like up and running because they've only come in earlier this week, and we've been too busy sorting back orders and sorting putting the stock out and stuff.
Sorting our lives out.
But,
I think I'm going to have one of those.
I think you better be fast because I think quite a lot of people are going to decide the same.
I think Jens is going to take that home.
I think Jens is probably going to start building it while we're on there.
Other new stuff,
what do you think, Jens?
we have.
You think that's going to be a cool chassis?
I think it's about time that the MS got replaced.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I might
gonna be
I
massive.
might drop a bombshell as well, which well, put it this way, there's new RTRs coming. If I say that, and I believe there's XXX-D RTRs due sometime in the next few months, which I think is quite a cool thing. Give you another option.
This is my like, that's a good face.
Yeah, that's he didn't know that face.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, I think that's going to be quite cool.
Yeah.
'Cause some people prefer shaft drive, some people prefer belt drive.
Moving on. Just because we have to follow the schedule to some degree. Overdose.
Yep.
More stuff coming.
Yep.
What are we expecting from Overdose?
All the bodies and usual stuff like that.
Yeah.
I say this, it's not shipped yet, so there could be things that are out of stock, but we've ordered all the bodies and all the upgrades for the bodies with the light kits and the body kits and all that stuff. We've got a whole bunch of aluminium parts coming. We've got a whole bunch of wheels, including the new 3mm offsets that, well, I say new, they came out while we were in Japan, but
Yeah, well, probably, fairly new to Europe.
yeah. I'm trying to remember what else is on there, but a whole bunch of
There's
parts.
those.
Well, they're not due just yet. They're not available till next month, and that's the new Overdose Voltex wings, which are quite cool.
That is an actual collaboration with
It is
Voltex.
fully licensed.
And if no one knows who Voltex are,
they're very, very, very famous aero.
they've been basically making all the carbon parts for all of the famous Japanese time attack cars
and a lot of American as well.
And American and drift cars for like as long as I've been involved.
Yeah,
in drifting,
like I know in America, I think it's Evasive are the distributors, and they're pretty big.
Yeah,
and they've run them for a long time. And Voltex are one of the few aero manufacturers that actually know what they're talking about when it comes to aerodynamics.
Yeah.
So that's why all the time attack cars run them, because they give you extra downforce, they give you extra grip.
Remember Tezuka's car when we were at Kids Art?
Yeah.
Yeah, the pink JZX.
Yeah.
Voltex wing on that. They took even the wing stays are carbon. That thing must be 12 years old.
So it's very cool stuff. So it's cool to see another RC brand collaborating with a full size manufacturer. I think it's going to be
it's full size and full size into RC. So it's it works good. It's a good thing
for sure.
Yeah,
but I think they're due out early to mid-February, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So we'll have them coming. There's two types available. There's a what do they call it? The swan neck style mount that attaches to the one that goes over and attaches on top. I'm not being honest. But we have them coming, and we also have the more traditional GT
Maybe
wing.
it's because they don't have swans in Japan. And actually, swans, when you meet them because we have a lot in England, swans. And when you meet a real swan, you realise, they're bastards. Basically, if a swan can bite you, it will. That's kind of their mission in life. They're a bit like...
They're not quite as bad as wasps. That's what you're going to say.
They're a bit like wasps, yeah.
That's not true.
I didn't know I was going to say that.
Because I knew you were going to say that. I don't know why. But essentially...
It's telekinetic.
That's
creepy.
I think that's just a sign we spent too much time together.
Telepathic.
No, telekinetic.
Telekinetic is moving things with your mind.
Telepathic
is...
He did? You couldn't feel it? That's all.
Man.
Okay, too much information.
So, have you seen the Overdose wings?
No.
You've not seen them? Oh, okay.
No. Thank you for preparing me for this.
Do you know what a swan is?
A what?
A swan. It's a bird. Its neck goes like this. It looks like a question mark.
Oh, is that the new Dacia Swan car?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
What else was new? Oh, Frederick Asbo's been out RC drifting again.
Yep, he's over at Drammen, I think this weekend, isn't that there?
Last weekend.
I think it's this weekend.
Last weekend.
I think I saw something yesterday that he was there
last
testing.
weekend.
Or was it
more
last
sometime?
Anyway, he was out drifting his own
replica
car.
Associated. Yeah.
That's fun to see, because it's good to see, like Frederick is actually out using a product that he's put his name to. That's a good thing.
He's definitely interested in RC. We were talking to him when we were in Japan, weren't we? And he was very keen to make sure that the guys that run his car enjoy it. It's not just a case of I've signed a contract and they give me some money to put my name on the car.
Frederick actually gives a shit. So.
Yeah, he does, which is cool.
What else was new? I went to Driftworks yesterday. Driftworks.
You did?
Yeah.
You got your wheels?
Got my wheels. They're here.
And you haven't brought them in to show off because I figured you'd be like having it around your neck or something.
Like Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
I was
But a bit more
debating
on
it. I was debating it, but I don't know. I sort of want to keep them for the finished car, but I'm very happy with them.
Is it 18?
But
Chrome spinners?
They're chrome.
how do you know? 22s, man.
Oh,
22s on an A86 is going to be gangster.
yeah.
It's all about the boost.
All about this wag.
Yeah, and Demon Camber and
Jesus.
Demon Camber with Mexican fitment.
Yes.
And what's it called, Maxi Flush, whatever.
Yes.
I don't know. You're into
don't-
all that shit.
I don't know if it's quite right to call it that, you know, but too late now.
I don't know. It's sort of a universal term. I'm not a racialist. It's not meant to be like that. Is everyone judging me? Oh God, I feel pressured.
Racialist?
Yeah. Anyway, I was talking to Phil, and Phil was I don't know. Is I think his interest in doing RC maybe slightly rekindled. So we'll see how that works out. But it's you know, again, from the Frederick thing, it's always good to see full size drifters actually kind of getting involved and enjoying RC drifting as a part of drifting.
Yeah.
You know, which is that's the way I see it anyway. You know, it's all one and the same.
Definitely.
So yeah. And what else is new?
Well, we've got another big bombshell to drop.
It's not that important. We don't need to
Maybe not to us.
Are,
Kind of is to him.
are you getting a drift car?
Well,
I've got a drift car.
Oh.
No, it's not really a drift car. It's a car that's broken.
so on our bodies, you may have seen
You're not going to see that.
that logo adorning the front.
There.
That one.
You could just
Cookies Drift Lounge.
What's Cookies Drift Lounge, Jens?
What is Cookies Drift Lounge? Jens.
it's a mystery.
It's a
It's a mystery.
Wrapped in an enigma.
Let's start the code.
What are these mystery cards? What do these do?
Well, I on the plane coming here, I overheard the Danish guy saying visit cards, because that's what you call them in Danish. And he didn't know that they're called business cards.
Ah, okay. So it's just like,
So
oh, nice to meet you. I'm just going to go and get the subway. There you go, ticket man. And you go and get the subway.
yes,
Is that how that works?
yeah, I guess. So I've gotten business cards now, and it says Cookies Drift Lounge because I'm opening a drift lounge
And you're the lead
in the
ninja.
shop
Why is it called Cookies?
because of you.
Oh, it's because who doesn't like cookies? That's
Yes.
I thought that was genius.
Also, cookies is appropriately silly,
Yes.
Yes.
and this is RC drifting is very silly.
Jens's logo and business card are
Very serious.
super serious looking.
They're classy.
It's like cookies, business accountants.
Yes. Hopefully, it's more jazz lounge than men's lounge, kind of. That would be bad.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be full of men though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to provide the jazz, or you're just getting the men.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
By
anyway.
jazz, all I can think of is jazz hands.
Whereabouts is Cookies going to be?
In Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Well, near Copenhagen.
That's in Denmark for
Yes, in
anyone
Denmark,
who's
sorry.
stupid.
And I'm going to have a lot of these MST things.
Which is good.
So,
MSTs, Overdose, all the fun stuff. And basically we've been you know, we've been out to Japan and everything.
Well, I was going to say that the important thing, I think, there's lots of people opening tracks, there's lots of people opening RC drifting shops and all this sort of stuff. And the important thing is Jens has done his research for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like in terms of business, more than 2 years probably, but like specifically with the intention of opening a track. You've been going to Japan, you've been coming here quite a lot, and visiting lots of other tracks and competitions and stuff. Which not many people bother with, and I think that's important.
But again, it's the exact kind of same process we went through. You know, before we started, you know, we went out and we studied as much as we could, and we had Mizunaga here, and we went all over the place. And Jens has done exactly the same, and obviously worked with us guys. And you know, hopefully you're going to get some really good results right away.
The key thing is you know what you're looking for. You know what the kind of surface you want. You know the kind of products you want to start. You know the kind of vibe you want. That's stuff that nobody else bothers to work out. Everyone else goes, right, we've got a track. Right, how do we make it cool?
Yeah.
which doesn't happen. If you do that, your track is never cool.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to have an actual shop with your track together. So if something breaks, you can fix it right away.
Yeah. Do you want to explain the concept behind your circuit?
Do you want to answer your phone?
Or turn the damn thing off? Well, okay,
Yes.
I bet that's someone who's watching this going,
I'm going to get Jens.
Of course.
Oh, Jens, you're on the live chat.
it's somebody who just
Oh,
really?
It's Taj.
Hi, Martin. Hi, Taj.
Anyway,
Yeah,
Yeah, so
what's the concept? Like, what's
the,
it?
the point is that in Copenhagen, there aren't really any proper tracks. You have to go outside and in the snow. It's not
Well,
really good.
that's buggies.
Yeah. So have a really good track and the shop together. So it's a one-stop.
Hey,
RC Fun Fest.
that sounds familiar.
So
who would do that? Who would have a
Who's
shop?
got a track there and a shop here?
circuit?
it's of course totally my own concept. I haven't been inspired by anyone.
Definitely not ripped us off. That's for sure.
And but the idea is, you have any kind of issue with your MST, you go down to my shop.
Jens will be available
fix
to
it
ship it to us, and
immediately.
we'll fix it.
Jens can ring us up and go, this thing's happened. How do I fix this?
So all the parts in stock.
Yeah.
Of course, sometimes you'll run out, but mostly.
Yeah, don't say that. That's not someone.
That
doesn't look like-
Sometimes we'll run out of stuff.
Yes, of course. Sorry, I'm very honest. Excuse me.
Never happens.
Yeah. So
We can always fulfill the demand that's there.
I think it's going to be.
Sort of.
I think it's cool.
So anyway,
Well,
another circuit in Europe done properly, and my sort of vibe for that is just well done, Jens.
Yeah.
Good job.
And of course, it's going to be friggin' awesome because I have 350 square meters. So
That's a lot.
it's
That's a
gonna be
lot.
big. And
Are you
good.
going to fly spaceships in there and
Yes.
stuff? That's awesome. Are you buzzing again?
Yes.
Right, with that, we're not talking about cookies anymore. Who's ever making
that's
buzz?
That's either somebody on this or that's somebody from Tinder, guaranteed.
I hope it's someone from this because that's more.
I'm hoping they're just. It's not actually ringing. I'm hoping it's just constant text messages. Just, Jens.
Maybe it's someone from Tinder watching this, and Jens is like, I'm in a really important business meeting with the bank. I can't talk. And I'm like, Jens, why are you on the live stream? Who is it?
It's my door.
Your
at
door.
home. Someone wants to give something to me.
Your door. Your front door is ringing you.
Yes.
Can I answer your front door?
No.
What's the point in that then? That's your door.
Why does your door need to ring your phone? Surely,
Because
if you're
that's the
home, you're
system.
home.
No, that's the system. There's no
That's weird.
bell.
That is.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Crazy country.
I'm not sure if that's weird or baller.
So yeah. So do you know roughly when you're going to be opening?
That's the million-dollar question.
So yeah, that's not yet.
When
when we've sorted all the difficult stuff out
yes, all the details. Like
Well,
making an actual track.
that nobody ever thinks about or gives a crap about.
Yeah.
The stuff
And-
that
You mean the
matters.
stuff that's actually really hard?
The stuff that's really hard. It takes a long time.
Like carpet that takes months to order.
Yes, and
Yeah.
building pits and making sure that they're adequately sized and
All I'm going to say is face masks.
yeah,
Really
and,
good ones.
And if you can, don't do it in the place you want to be because otherwise you won't want to be in there for quite a while afterwards. And there's a lot to clean up.
But,
I'm pretty sure we broke a couple of hoovers sorting our place out after we made our pits.
Yeah, pretty much. Industrial ones. Anywho,
the plan is about a month, but we'll see.
so in 3 months, Jens might be open.
Well,
We should move
I was
on.
going to say, plus then waiting for the carpet that takes quite a while. So
There are many
Yeah,
factors.
but
Jens. You have not
I have
factored for.
polished concrete floor.
yeah, that's
okay.
true.
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
HPs.
Yeah.
We can make it work.
Yeah, we'll definitely make that work. No problem.
We make that work.
At some point, we need to come over.
Hmm.
Need an invite. Need to be invited to the grand opening.
Yeah, we should be invited.
Special pits. Free flights.
Mm,
Free accommodation. You know, the usual.
We've
Industry
given you the exposure now.
Yeah, no, man, you're always big.
Thank you.
Right, anyway, so get back to the questions.
The
Very
camera
quick question.
seems really high today.
Anyway, questions. A very quick one from Andy Brunton, which is a very simple no.
What, Andy Brunton?
Do you have the Tailslider M12 wheel available?
No.
They sold out within a few days of getting back.
And we bought them out of stock completely, so there won't be. When the next ones come out, from what they were saying, there'll be different designs.
Yeah, they only make one.
So the designs that people have now, that's it. That's your lot. You're not getting those again.
And that's if they make more, because they make loads of cool stuff. And from what I can work out, they only remake some, or make a new version of something.
Yeah.
If there's nothing else to make.
Yeah.
And there's always new chassis and stuff. So, who knows? Josh Shams, what did you guys do before? I'm guessing Soul RC. Where are you from? And what made you start Soul? And when did you get into drifting? And how long have you known each other? Lots of questions.
Oh, Jesus.
What do we do?
Like a life story.
I think we've kind of covered most of this before anyway, to be honest. But, well, Jens hasn't. But what did you do before Soul RC? If we work in reverse chronological order, I worked at Driftworks. I think you got it wrong there. I worked at Driftworks for a few years as sales manager. Before that, I worked for myself, selling aftermarket parts as Tweet Culture, and before that I worked for GOTN selling aftermarket car parts, and before that I was at university.
What did I do? Before this, where the hell did I live before this? I lived in Japan, and I was a part-time school teacher, part-time
How do we let you meet kids?
export. They were adults. Not that there's anything wrong with being near kids, you fucking dick. So I was a part-time school teacher, part-time parts export, full-time dickhead, basically street drifting and doing lots of things I wasn't supposed to in a country with very strict rules, and learning my craft, basically. Then I did try and start a t-shirt company, and that went tits up. And then, yeah, generally I've just, prior to that, I've just been sort of buying and selling parts, and I did all right enough with that I could kind of exist. And that's about that.
He's from Liverpool. I'm from Northampton. That's the easy answer to the next question.
Well,
I lived everywhere. But
I was born in Macclesfield.
Oh God, here we go. You know what you were saying about life story?
And then I ended up moving to Birkenhead. So actually, Birkenhead's finest. I like lead.
It's funny, every time your hometown gets mentioned, your accent instantly goes, I forgot about you. I'll come back for a bit.
I like it there. It's cheeky. It's a cheeky place.
We've known each other for 5 or 6 years, I'm guessing. Maybe 5, I don't know. Something like that.
I've known of you rather than knowing you. Like I've walked into Driftworks, gone, I need parts. That sort of that.
You want to watch what you say, because
that solid-looking fellow with the beard. He'll sort me out.
He looks like he can carry a heavy box. And what made you start Soul? We started Soul RC because
bullshit distribution in this country.
Basically, you couldn't buy.
Is that a bit animated?
Yeah, we got sick of waiting for parts from Japan constantly.
Yeah,
we got sick of stuff getting stuck in. I remember the deciding factor for me was when I bought myself a DIB when we were back at Driftworks, and I broke a rear belt on my DIB. Nobody had any spares at all in the country. There was nobody that stocked DIB parts at all. Yeah. I ordered a replacement belt and a couple of other tiny bits from Japan, and I had to wait 6 weeks until it was at my door because it got stuck in customs for over 4 weeks, and it took a while to ship, and that stopped me drifting for a long time. So from that point on, I was ordering like 5 of everything just in case it ever broke, and it was ridiculous. Especially where we used to Driftworks at one point, the concrete was quite abrasive, and the dust used to eat everything.
It was so cold.
I destroyed bearings, one-ways, everything in that DIB, and I just got sick of waiting for parts. So we started importing a few extra Yokomo parts with what we were doing, and then we decided to just get serious. And that was when we discovered MSD. So we started.
I think originally you were bringing in a couple of extra bits yourself.
Yeah.
And then I got super annoyed with my chassis, and was like, "This is crap. We need to." I wanted to do something, and I mentioned it to him because basically every Wednesday. Would it?
Yeah,
be?
Wednesdays.
Well, normally multiple nights a week, to be fair. But literally, me and a couple of other dudes, we'd drive up to Birmingham, get there for when Jay finished work at 5 o'clock, 5:30, and then we'd literally be ripping. Well, Phil Morrison would stay, and everyone would hang around for a bit, and we'd be ripping like everybody till like 10 kind of thing, and then we'd kind of look at our clocks again and be like, oh, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, we'll just have a couple more laps, and then we'd be going home at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Jay's like, I'm up for work in an hour. Like,
there was some bad times when like we just got it wrong completely, and you ended up crashing on my sofa for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh yeah, let's go. Ah, shit, I've got to get up and go to bed in a bit.
Yeah.
Power nap.
Yeah.
Power nap, full day work. It's fine.
But that happened a lot.
Yeah, so we did that. But basically, we started distributing parts. That was our plan. We got the MST deal. Started learning about MST, and from day one, the plan was always to have another track, because just about not long after we got the MST deal, the Driftworks track got destroyed by a flood, and we were trackless.
Well, to be fair, originally we were going to make all of this in Driftworks, but
the plan was, but essentially,
which would have been fun, but at the same time, it would have been bloody freezing.
Yeah, it was very cold.
Now, well, I was up there yesterday, and my God, it is full of wheels and tires to the roof.
Yeah, they kind of bought that warehouse to use.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we.
Although I did get something. I might go and get it from the car. Actually,
don't worry, we've got to move on.
It's special. It's special. It's not a normal thing.
Well, maybe in a bit when we're answering.
Remember when we made the billboards?
Oh, you got them?
I didn't get all of them because there was a gigantic, obnoxious truck in the way and tires in the way and stuff. But I got the main one with all like the outsiders and mind control, and
that's cool.
It's got a run-free sticker.
I was going to say the one with the run-free sticker is the good one.
Sticker. Run-free stuck.
But yeah, so basically the plan was always to have a track, but obviously tracks cost a lot of money, as Jens will soon find out. And
I already found out.
we basically had to run the business for a year before we could afford to take the hit effectively, because the track costs us a lot of money every month. It doesn't make us any money in terms of people coming in paying for pit time. Is just not even close to covering the cost. So we had to build the business to a point where it could support the track.
Them lights be expensive,
and the rest.
Yeah.
And the imaginary stuff that you can't see, the taxes and all that sort of stuff.
You mean the stuff we spend loads of money on and see absolutely nothing for?
All that stuff. So anyway,
that council.
Essentially, it's I don't know. It was always our intention. We've got long-term plans. We've got 10-year plans that see some very, very big and grand things that we won't announce yet, because I don't want people handing us for it. We've got to wait till we're ready to do stuff. But there's much bigger stages than what we're doing right now.
Ready enough or rich enough?
Yeah,
bit of both.
But we've basically got to slowly build to where we want to be. But there's cool stuff coming. This is far from like the tip, as it were.
The pinnacle. Well, I wouldn't say tip. It sounds a bit phallic.
Only to you.
I'll come visit when you open your North Korea shop in 10 years. No problem.
You reckon they'll let you into I don't know where you're getting into North Korea.
Oh. So anyway, next question. Thanks, Josh.
The next question is from Akhtar.
Akhtar,
how do you measure FDR and CS? With some very good mathematics. The simple stuff.
I'm shit at maths. So basically, go on to the iTunes App Store and find yourself an FDR calculator.
There is some very basic
CS calculator.
In fact, calculations.
Or use a chart in the back of a manual.
Yes, they are.
But basically,
so in the back of the manual, just there, which you won't be able to see because the light's far too much.
Okay, you have to go.
I'm pretty sure if you're going on our Solar C group, I'm pretty sure Tom Hampton posted that page as a photo, or as an image, so you can see that just there. It is a very basic calculation. To be perfectly honest, I can never remember it. I have it written down.
I just remember to tell you to go to the iTunes App Store and get a CS calculator.
He's also
makes life easy.
You probably know the maths off the top of your head.
That's simple. You just divide
there you go.
the gear by the pulley and the other pulley by the other gear by the pulley, and then
it's really simple. Yeah,
no problem.
It is, but you just have to remember it. He's also said, I'm guessing, I'm going to correct his question a little bit, but I'm guessing he's saying, how do you know what FDR and CS to use? FDR depends on a few things, doesn't it? But generally, you want to Is that delivery? No. You want to be able to pull away without massive amounts of wheel spin. Is the basic first test.
Back to the 10-step guide.
You also need to be able
first
to.
thing, yeah.
You need to keep an eye on motor and ESC temperatures. That's
Yep.
the key thing. Is
Yep.
you can decide what FDR you want to run, but if your motor and ESC won't work with it, it's no good.
But generally, something around 7 is kind of
Well, for four-wheel drive, that is.
standard for four-wheel
It depends on the size of the track. It depends on the surface. It depends on lots of things. To be perfectly honest, do you know what your FDR normally is?
I think right now it's pretty high, around 8.
Yeah.
But
What's your FDR?
My FDR is currently 7.1, I believe, or 6.9. I can't remember which one I changed it to because I changed my opinion. I forget which one.
I have no idea
went
what
to.
mine is. Is that bad?
No.
But
I do it
we
by
have
feel.
to define what FDR is, because FDR, that should be on the front wheels, right? Because the rear wheels
For
are
me,
spinning
it's-
faster, so you have a
For
different
me, it's
FDR there.
feeling drive ratio.
Ah,
For
yeah.
you, it's final drive ratio.
It's essentially, I always work from the rear axle. If you're being completely correct, you should average both axles.
That's kind of bullshit, though.
Yeah, exactly. I work from the rear and just use it as a guide.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it's just a number. It doesn't really matter, does it? It's
Hence, feeling drive ratio.
but I use it to just essentially so I can write something on a piece of paper that reminds me roughly where I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So I can go back to around there if I go back to that track.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's not something I think at
So
the moment.
does this mean you've got it written down for what we did at the Worlds? Is it the Worlds or Euros?
It's the
It
Worlds
was
now.
Euros,
The
now
Worlds.
it's Worlds.
Yeah, now it's Worlds because there's people from America and Australia coming, I believe.
What do we call
Now
it?
the
Euros?
American lives in Europe,
Oh, does he?
so he's like
Oh.
American.
Oh, wasn't he there last year then?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but
That makes it
he's
easier.
still an American.
I guess it counts.
I'm pretty sure if he's from America and he has an American passport, he is American. Just so you know.
I like the Euros.
He has a German name, I think.
And we were all spending Euros over there, so it don't make sense.
with FDR at the moment, there seems to be a lot of people paying a bit too much attention to it. I'm seeing a lot of discussions about what FDR you need to run, and people saying it has to be this and you need to be on this, and it's like, just run it. Like it depends. It depends on the brand of motor. It depends on the spec of the motor. It depends on the ESC. It depends on the carpet.
As long as you get
depends on your
no
geometry.
initial wheel spin, and you've got enough power to run everywhere you need to on the course.
Yeah,
That's-
you need to be
that's
able to
enough.
crawl your car without it spinning.
Yeah.
Just
Feeling
to
drive
give you,
ratio.
just to
There you
give
go.
you the
That's the
correct
new
amount of control, essentially. And I think we missed. Mr.
Just-
Mathematician.
It's always driver skill level is more important than the setup of your car.
Can everyone do
So-
this?
So if you're
Universal.
constantly changing things, stop doing that.
Universal
That's
symbol.
what we tell
for-
everyone to do.
This is
Yeah.
the universal symbol.
And it's
for
what I
Daniel
do.
Seminoff.
Yeah.
Hello, Daniel.
He's also asked about CS. How do you measure CS? And,
With a ruler.
How do you know what CS you run? Measure CS is, again, it's just maths.
Yeah, maths.
But generally, you don't really need to measure CS because
It's on the packet or it's in a chart.
Yeah, you can. All the CS calculators generally, if you get one for your phone, they will tell you both your FDR and your CS if you input all the numbers. So it's relatively straightforward and easy. To be honest, it's what I do most of the time, apart from when somebody's asking me what something will give them. I find it easy just to do maths. But CS, you know what CS to use when it feels right. Is how I always think. If you're on a faster track, you're going to lower your CS a little bit. If you're on a super low grip track, you're going to lower your CS a little bit. But you can run what you want. If you want to run 2.7 on the slippier surface and do that.
Is actually because like a Yokomo's overdrive generally and an MST's underdrive generally, you can use the CS in a different way. So, for example, if I was running 2.0 CS on a Yokomo on asphalt, and I was a little bit slow, I'd drop my CS. However, if I was running 1.5 CS on asphalt with an MST and I was a little slow, what I could do is actually increase my CS which will increase reduce the front wheel speed, which will give the front wheels more grip. So effectively, you can use them in a differing manner.
Yeah,
so with the MST, you can use CS to create grip, whereas with the Yokomo, you can use CS to reduce grip. if that makes sense.
No, you can,
because you're adding drive to the chassis with
Yeah,
your
yes,
and
but
with
all-
MST you're removing it. So.
but you can do both things always.
Yeah.
You just have to change your opinion in spur also.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but assuming you have underdrive kits available.
No, no,
Sorry,
no,
I know what you're saying with
no.
that FDR, but
Yeah.
in terms of, yeah, you're right, you can reduce the wheel speed that way. But what I'm saying is you can keep that rear wheel speed of an MST constant, fixed, and just reduce the front just to give you that light.
It's just
you know?
another tuning option.
It's just a tuning option. CS isn't really about how much angle you're going to run, it's about controlling wheel speed or wheel spin, effectively.
Yeah, definitely. And there's always people who will who say, "Oh, I won't." I remember we talked about this before. I saw somebody that was complaining about an RMX because he wasn't interested in a chassis that couldn't run more than 2.5 CS. So, well, it's complete rubbish.
But
because,
nothing can because you have to make that custom anyway. So.
Regardless, it's completely irrelevant because you've not driven the chassis. You don't know how it behaves. And it's all about, like, we have guys that run exactly the same setup, exactly the same chassis. They drive door to door here. One's on 1.6, one's on 1.8. It's just one prefers to drive a certain way to get the control he wants.
Well, the settings of the chassis are different. That's just how it goes.
I've just remembered Chris has sent me a question, but he's PM'd me that, so I'll get that in a bit. Ryan Alick has said, "What's your favourite wheels?"
Ryan Alick. My favourite wheels?
Yeah.
I can't say right now because I just got some.
Are your favourite ever wheels?
Yeah, I love them.
Really? I thought yours would be something.
I always wanted
more
those.
Sylvia based.
Well, you say that I wanted those in a Sylvia appropriate size. I think they look amazing. RC wheels.
Everyone knows what you've got, don't they?
No.
Have you posted on Facebook?
No.
I should probably shut up then.
Yes. RC wheels.
I'm going to say they're some of my favourites. The CR
Overdose, yeah. I don't know.
I like. To be fair, there's quite a few that I like. I really like the 5H or the H5, depending on.
And I think I'm into the RIDs.
You know what them up?
Go on then, get up. I think I'm going to say RIDs. I like RIDs.
Do you know? Actually, I think I'm going to say the original MST 5-spoke. I think it looks amazing, especially in the higher offsets.
Yeah, in the 11s it looks
in
nuts.
flat silver. It looks amazing. It's one of my favourites around. In real life, my favourite wheels are probably a TE37, or to be a bit sort of.
They are up there.
Dickish, like Mitto. It's the wheels I currently own. My RK003 VVS wheels.
They are badass, to be fair.
They're pretty awesome, and I don't know. It's probably because I bought them crazy cheap the first time. I bought them on eBay, and I won a no reserve auction for silly money. And I had to drive to Bristol to go and pick up the wheels, and the guy did not want to give me those wheels, so he didn't even come home for 8 hours. I had to sit outside his house until he came home, and I was perfectly happy to, because I was like, I've just bought some forged wheels for like 300 quid. And they're amazing.
That's ridiculous. And what they're worth now, like 1,500 quid.
Don't know, they're just
Something
amazing.
They are good wheels.
They're the light. I've had lots of forged wheels over the years, and they're the lightest wheels I've ever had by miles.
Favourite wheel I have are the wheels I've just bought.
Which is
a secret.
I'm going to give it away if you don't start.
No, save it, because
what's your favourite wheels?
Building a car.
I have no idea.
What's your favourite RC wheels?
I don't know, but just cool. Earlier I saw these, and I really like the finish. It's like
the flat black.
Flat black.
Yeah, they are very nice.
I quite like these top line wheels too, which I can't get it to show because they're light.
Go closer. Closer. There you go.
It will sort itself out. These look badass. They're kind of
top line. Do make some cool wheels.
Yeah, they work pretty well. I don't know. I got like I'm a bit of a wheel fanboy, to be perfectly honest. I wouldn't say I'm a wheel whore because I can't afford to own loads of wheels. But I'm somebody who's into lots of, as people like to call it, real wheels.
Real wheels.
Never easy to say. House flappy.
Anyway,
yeah.
There's only so much you can talk about. What's your favourite wheel?
I can probably.
Thanks, guys.
I've sold lots of wheels over the years, lots of different brands, and I know the ones I like and I know the ones I don't like. And for me, wheels are the most important thing you can put on a car. You can make a car look god ugly if you put the wrong wheels.
Well, technically, tyres are the most important thing you can put on a car. But,
in terms of like styling on a car, wheels are the most important thing.
Absolutely.
You can have a badass car, you put the wrong wheels on, just not interested.
I have definitely bought the right wheels. No, I have. You just don't like the options I've gone for. But the wheels themselves, oh, fuck you, man.
I told you which ones to buy. You didn't buy them, man.
We'll see. The internet's going to tell you you're wrong.
Yeah, because
Just go on.
because fanboys.
Just go on the next question.
Okay.
No, because people have taste apart from you.
You'll agree with me one day, man. You know how you thought an SI was a good idea, and then you changed your mind. This is the same thing.
It's really not.
It really is. Anyway, moving on. That's not something I can answer very quickly. I think I might need to check that.
Ask it anyway.
Roman Rupek has said he's got a question about tyres for the FXX. When I use CSR two-wheel drive soft, yellow dots on the rear axle, it has much more grip than medium FRF on the front, which it will because it's a very different compound. The car loses good handling, but there's no softer FRF on the shop. Can you advise? My advice would be probably to run not such a soft rear. To me, it's probably a bit controversial to say that, but I don't want to use super soft tyres on rear-wheel drive. I mean, he runs on brushed wooden floors, which I can't say I've drifted that often on a wooden floor, so I don't know for sure. But I would be inclined to say rather than use the soft option, use the medium option, and maybe that use the two-wheel drive option. Maybe try the standard medium option, just to bring the balance back to the chassis. At the end of the day, if you don't have an option to go softer on a tyre, then you need to bring the other axle in line effectively.
Coming back to Japan, I think an important thing we learned is you have to match the tire to the floor.
Yes.
And then if you're slow, then you need to fix your setup. Not choose different tires.
Yeah, definitely. Speed doesn't come from tyres. It shouldn't come from tyres, I should say.
Incidentally, I will say that any tyre running on a wooden floor is likely to damage the floor.
Yes.
So if there's
I believe that's not a problem.
varnish
From the looks
on
of it. He's posted a couple of cool photos actually, which it looks like they're running a racing line effectively on the floor. It looks like a very different colour from where they're running. So yeah. I'd imagine that doesn't matter. I personally would not choose to run on a wooden floor. Depends on the actual surface. If it's been varnished or anything like that, then it's going to be quite inconsistent. It's never going to be that fun. But if it's your only option, it's better that you run there. Alberto has a pretty interesting question. He said the King of Europe RC series has just been announced. Will this bring a serious change for RC drifting? Can we hope that it reaches the same popularity as touring and buggies?
If King of Europe has been released for RC and kind of it's a new thing for guys in the RC scene, I would probably suggest that he hasn't quite researched it properly. So I wouldn't personally hold too many hopes on it because obviously RC is something that when you begin, you feel like, especially if you've been drifting. For me, like, I've been drifting for years, and I definitely came into RC with a bit of an ego in the sense of I've been drifting. I know what I'm doing, blah, 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 you're just playing with toys, which was very, very wrong. So I think if that is the case, then I can't see it doing particularly well. However,
I think it's good
if he gets the right people involved, could be brilliant.
I think it's good that RC drifting is becoming big enough that people want to get on board.
Yeah.
I think the critical thing is always getting the right people running it. Which is probably a short way of saying what you just said. Yeah.
Is it Michael Procure, isn't it? I've met him a couple of times.
I don't know, to be perfectly
honest. He used to live in Holland. I know he's been at the game a long time though. So
for me, I mean, we see it a lot with people setting up tracks that are getting into it for the wrong reason, and they make bad choices, and the track doesn't go anywhere because they've not set the right course out, they've not set the right tyre option, they've not got the right surface. If you run in a competition, you've got to have the right judging. And you can have different types of judging, but you need to have, you need to be current, as it were. Yeah. You can't be out of date. I mean, there's people that want to run the wrong tyres. There's people that want to judge with no style. Literally, you hit the clips, you do all right. It's very out of date. And I'm not interested in competing in a championship that does that kind of thing. So that maybe I'm the exception, but I don't believe that's the case anymore. What do you think, Jens?
I think it's really exciting, and I look forward to hearing more. But yeah, it really, if we have proper judges from real drifting and a decent surface, should be okay. So,
well, not just judges from real drifting, but they need to be backed up with an RC judge that understands technique. You know, and that's kind of the big separation between RC drifting and real drifting, is that RC drifting, the technique is so detailed. So, and if you're not used to looking for that, you literally don't even see it.
I think it's perfectly acceptable to have a competition where there's nobody caring about technique, as long as they have seen and recognized the highest possible level of driving ability in terms of just watching the movements. And if you can make the car move in a super realistic way, that's perfect. The problem is, anyone who generally gets asked to judge these competitions, they haven't seen the top level drifting, and so they think, oh, he's hit the clip. He's done well. That's hard.
Can be driven very smoothly and very well with absolutely no counter steer. Without the wheel angle matching the body angle. You know,
if there's no technique judging required, then the judges have to be super critical on movements and on style and that kind of thing. But I do think it is possible. It's just not likely to be done right. Next question, Ben Canner. What effect does damper rebound have on a drift chassis? Quite a big effect. It's getting the rebound settings right. To me, it's not something you need to worry about until you're a little bit more experienced in terms of a driver.
Well, I would put it in these terms. It controls the speed at which you regain or lose grip, in effect, because the grip itself comes from the spring, if you want to look at it in a separate way. So as the spring compresses, for example, you put the power on, car squats and it grips, and then basically if it comes back up quickly, and if your 0 point is quite loose and you have no grip, then it will go from having grip to no grip really fast. But if it returns really slowly, then basically, as you lift, your grip will return slowly. Your grip will disappear slowly, or regain slowly, depending on how you set your car up. But basically, it controls the speed at which grip is delivered, in effect.
Yeah,
I mean that's how I'd look at it in a kind of
it also
tactical sense.
I mean, it kind of applies the same way, but if you're not in a super perfectly smooth track, it affects how your car will behave over the bumps as well.
Exactly.
Rebound to me is it's kind of like a final fine tuning thing. It's not something I would do when I'm first setting up a new chassis. I'll run whatever the rebound happens to be and deal with that when I'm just trying to.
What you should say is you'll run the rebound at completely even, and then tune accordingly.
No,
not like Ling on one, mate. See what happens. You know?
No, I mean like whatever the factory settings are is what I mean.
Yeah.
Which generally is full rebound. For most chassis. So I would do that and then tweak it later on. Generally, the only tweak I normally would run is I often run full rebound in the front and then a little bit less in the rear. It's not something I would advise people play around with until they know how it feels.
But again, what that does is obviously if you've got full rebound in the front and reducing the rear, what it'll do is in a practical sense is when you lift, it'll stop all the weight getting pitched forward too quickly, and it'll stop all the weight being pitched back too quickly as well. So it maintains stability, and that's that timing. I'm saying about timing for grip, but it's also timing for front and rear weight transfer as well. Because obviously, if your suspension if the front's going like this and the rear's going slowly, then lots of very different things are going to happen.
What what your rebound settings are for carpet?
No, I haven't really played that much with it, but I think an important bit is that if you run a very low car, then you should not use full rebound, because then some of your springiness is from the rebound and not the spring.
Yeah, it depends on the oils and pistons and stuff. But you can again tweak all that to tune. Next question.
One's 50.
Oh yeah, I'll ask you.
Like 50% rebound at the front, so it's at the center point. and my rear is in negative rebound by about probably 70-30 split, something like that.
Chris Butcher's asked, instead of increase in CS ratio, what change setting-wise enable better counter-steer drifting? Lots of them. There's some real basic stuff that you should start with.
Simplest one is rear toe, I think. If you add rear toe, you increase stability, so it's harder to make it drift. But once you are drifting, the chassis won't want to rotate. But if you have less toe, it's slippier initially, but then you have more control over the angle when you're at a higher angle.
To me,
you can make the chassis rotate.
My preferred settings would be caster. I would rather. I find it easier to increase control by playing with caster settings and camber settings on the front of the car, because essentially you're adjusting the point in which the car has grip during the lock range.
Yeah.
So you can tweak it so that as you're on your most commonly used part of the lock, depending on the course, you run a little bit less grip on that part because you're already at the point where you've initiated your drift and you're controlling the car. So you can reduce the front grip to make the car not want to straighten itself up. So I'd rather do, but that's why our settings are always very different, because I'd rather work with the front end of my car, whereas you tend to tweak the back for things like that.
I tweak everything, but it's independently. And for me, that's adding CS. I think he either wants to add more counter steer or add more rotation. So actually, both answers are correct. If you want the chassis to rotate more, then adjust the rear toe, like I've said. If you want the chassis to end up on more angle, adjust the front end, like James has said. So it's kind of two approaches to the same question. But that is the difficulty in the tuning, because there are so many options available. So if you wanted to feel more rotational or feel more directional from the steering, that's what you need to assess first and go with the best option from there.
Rory has. Have you got anything else to say? Rory's asked, what springs and oil would you recommend for a rear motor chassis layout like a XXX-D for rear-wheel drive and CS, which I'm guessing means a GRK?
Rory, which surface?
Yes, which surface and kind of track? Is it solid, smooth, bumpy?
Is it big, small, slippery?
As a sort of a bit of a generic answer to the question without knowing the finer details, rear motor chassis, I generally will run slightly thicker oil in the rear. I would normally recommend to people, again, depends on the surface, but the MST 32mm springs are very, very, very good.
Lots of traction available.
Depending on which surface you're on, depends which range you go or which set you go for from the range. But they are very good, very easy to set up, but also give a very, very high performance.
Yep.
So that's my general sort of generic answer. Here, XXX wise, I can't remember what I was running. I think about 30 on the rear and 20, 25.
Somewhere between 300 and
like
400 and sort of 250 and 350.
For a long time I did run the 6-hole pistons in the rear of mine, but I wouldn't be doing that now if I had the chassis. I've gone away from doing that.
I'd say that I'm still on the 2 holes at the back of mine, but
what's standard on them?
3 hole.
Yeah.
But it's rear motor. There's a lot of weight in it, and I'm running a ball diff in the back, which changes things as well.
Okay, I think that's pretty much. I know. Wait,
there was another emailed question.
There was, and there was another question asked on the page.
What was the question asked on the page?
PM. And the PM. Yeah, I'll get to that one in a sec. When this loads, I've got to multitask different devices. This isn't loading. It's not good. Why is that taking forever? You need to waffle about something for a minute while the connection sorts itself out.
This yogurt, raspberry, and oatmeal brekkie smoothie is lovely.
Yes.
Come
to Denmark.
Come to Denmark.
Or if you're already in Denmark, come to Copenhagen.
And you can stay in Jens' house.
And you can't stay in my house now, because I smell, and you don't want that.
Okay.
That depends.
Oh, if you like cheese.
It's a different show.
Okay. where are we? Okay, Steve Dolan has asked, what is the effect of altering Ackerman angle on both RC and full-size drift cars? Is it the same effect on both? And then there's more questions I'll get to in a bit. Ackerman on a full-size car is something that's quite difficult to get right if you're going to be tweaking with it.
I think the only difference is on a full-size car, it's almost more sensitive because of the grip levels involved. But as a simple way of looking at it, in my head, I'm an idiot, so it might not be correct. But if your wheels are parallel, it means that your car will follow that direction. So in a full-size car,
essentially, there's two wheels guiding it.
Yeah. So in a full-size car, what people do is run zero Ackerman. So when they're on full lock, the wheels are parallel. They can mash their foot to the floor, make loads of smoke, not really gain any speed, and just kind of make it look a bit show-offy, drifty kind of thing.
I think it's a different word then.
If you're running Ackerman, basically your lead wheel becomes the directional control, and your trailing wheel acts as an anchor point.
Yeah.
Now, what you'll see is a lot of cars at, for example, Mayhem, where they snap against the wall super violently. The way they catch that car, bang, and stop at that angle is because they've got the anchor point on the wheel. So if you're coming down to Mayhem, whoop, you flick on the wall, bang,
that transfers.
That wheel locks you, and that's the wheel that goes, look at my massive angle,
But actually, that's the lead wheel is still what guides you.
The lead wheel is still what guides you, and the rear wheel is what holds it there. So it creates an anchor point to basically anchor the rear of the car. It's a stopper.
That translates directly to RC drifting. That's how.
Exactly.
When we've got a big wall to rub, I will always run more Ackerman.
Yeah,
because you can fire along it. And
I mean, not that extreme, but
I've run not far off before when I've been testing. But yeah, for me, Ackerman is one of the few things that I think everyone should
play with.
Everyone should kind of learn. Like, to me, I think you shouldn't.
Another point about Ackerman before I forget, because it's quite a good one. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Right? But basically, because, like I was saying, this is directional control. When you're exiting a corner and coming onto a straight, for example, adjusting your Ackerman will also adjust the timing at which point your car straightens. So if you find your car is coming out of a corner and running wide, it's likely that you've got too strong an Ackerman angle and it's washing you wide. If you've got a very small Ackerman angle, you'll find your car coming in or snapping back too hard. So that's something to adjust as well.
From an RC point of view as well, one of the things that people will often not realise is running a bigger Ackerman angle will often allow you to run more lock, because what usually is the limiting, assuming you've got MSD 60-degree drive shafts or something like that, usually the limiting factor in how much lock you can run is your trailing wheel hitting the shock.
Yeah.
So if you increase your Ackerman angle, your lead wheel can actually run to a higher angle before the trailing wheel will hit the shock.
Yes.
Obviously, it depends on your drive shafts and whether they're capable of running that angle. I don't think I'm running much Ackerman angle at all.
Easy to see from the other way up, isn't it?
That's something to consider. Anyway, we must move on because we're kind of out of time.
Yes.
He's asked the practical considerations on a road car used for drifting, such as increased front tyre wear. It depends on
Ackerman.
It depends on other settings as well.
Not really, because it's only if it's a road car, then you're not street drifting, and it shouldn't really make much odds.
He's also said lack of feedback, etc.
No, not really, because that's based on static. So, I mean, yes, kind of, but if you're just normal driving, pretty much it's going to be fine. If you find on a road car that you're running very low Ackerman figures down to zero Ackerman, and it's a little bit sort of neutral feeling, you can add a little bit of tow out. I'm talking between 5 and 10 minutes of tow out maximum for a road car. And that will give you the feeling back in the steering.
Right, moving on. The PM question I had, which I have actually answered, but I'm going to
go back to,
bring it up on here for other people anyway. Chris has asked us.
Hi, Chris.
He's currently running 1.5 CS in his MSO1D with a 10.5 motor and standard gearing. He also has 1.8 and 2.0 CS gears. Which would you recommend for our track here? Or would you say it's down to personal preference? To me, like essentially Chris was asking because he's coming on Saturday, he wanted to know which gears to bring, and I've just said bring all of the gears because he might want to tweak, he might want to play, he might find one suits him better.
Current track 1.5, I would say. 1.5, 1.6.
It depends on, Chris is coming from Concrete, one of the T-side guys, so he's coming from Concrete. I would say it's going to be, you're probably going to end up on 1.5 or 1.8, depending on whether, how you get on with the change to the carpet.
You have to remember that the higher CS you go on carpet, the more wheel spin you generate, the hotter your tyres get, the more inconsistent your car becomes.
Depending on your
you might be fast when you're all running together. Oh, look, I'm so fast. But if you need to battle someone and your tyres are cold, you're screwed. So, you know.
Well, essentially, don't get consistent because he's running an MS. He's reducing his front wheel speed, which will give him more control of cargo, actually. Things like that anyway. So, for me, always take all of your CS options and all of your gearing options to every single track, even if you've been there before, because if somebody's running a slightly different style or if they're running a different line,
and you want to run with them,
then you need to be able to tweak and change stuff. And they're relatively quick and easy things to change.
Exactly, yeah. Like
so
10 minutes.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's kind of us done. We need to move on and do other stuff.
Is that the end of waffle time?
That's the end of waffle
with
time.
With special guest Jens, our first ever special guest.
Our international guest. Flown all the way from Denmark.
First ever guest?
Yeah, man.
First ever guest.
Oh,
thank
you. No, thank you.
Said it on camera, yes.
Yeah, so
that was Waffle Hour. Like and favorite this shit. Become a Viking today, bitches. Rob Ass.
Yeah, and due to all the,
I wonder if Rob Ass gives us a plug back on his.
He
doesn't care, does he?
He doesn't even know.
I wish he did. I'm gonna try and tag Rob Ass. Everybody tag Rob Ass and say we became Vikings.
What were you gonna say? Yeah.
He is a Viking.
Yeah, and there will be no
Pussy
solo Q&A next week because Mitto is a pervert and we're gonna get shut down by Google. Sorry.
No, we're not.
No. How did this happen?
You.
This should be called Fucky's Drift Lounge.
Tinder Drift Lounge.
Tinder Drift Lounge.
And then you should have called it Tinder Drift Lounge. Then you could have on a Wednesday night, so it could be Grinder Drift Lounge.
Grinder.
Just don't fuck up your.
No.
My track is open for everyone.
Now I want to open a skate park called Grinder.
I'm sure somebody did that, man. I bet someone's walking around somewhere with a T-shirt from like 1995.
I reckon Ark is sat at home watching this now, going, "Man, that's amazing!" Grinder. Hey, Ark.
Anyway, we've got to finish because we've got stuff to do.
Anyway, do like and favorite this shit because we want to become Vikings yesterday, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.
With more waffle
and maybe some cool new stuff. Maybe some XXX's that are up and running.
Maybe a red prop shaft. In my car.
Yeah, maybe.
And maybe we'll replace Jens with someone else.
Maybe.
Of some other origin.
I'm fucking irreplaceable, you dumb bastard.
Bye, people.
In your opinion.
We have to go.
Hamakabula.
Bye for now.